Okay, so here we are in our MDE 54 course. We're in finance. So we're on day 18 for those finance problems. Okay, so what we're going to be looking at is we're going to be looking at just evaluating more complex, when we get to the top, algebraic equations, and then moving on to pay out annuities and loans. So the first one would be if we have something like number 1, and we're trying to do just fill in D is 450, R and K. How can we do that and make sure that we get the right number out in the calculator? And we always want to round to hundreds because that's what it said. Also, these are going to, in finance, go to money. So the 2 decimals would be what we want. So we're going to do the 450. 1 minus 1 plus. So I'm filling right in exactly what they gave me. 0.05 divided by 12. And then this says negative K, parenthesis, and then divided by R divided by K. Oh, which is 0.05 divided by 12. All right. So I'm going to get that 0.05 divided by 12. Okay, so when I type this in, it's going to be exactly how it looks. 450, 1 minus 1 plus 0.05 divided by 12, negative 12, parenthesis, divided by 0.05 divided by 12. So you'll want to put that in your calculator and really make sure that you are typing it correct and get 5256 and 55 cents. If you're getting a ton of error messages, just start over. It's a lot harder to try to pinpoint what went wrong than just trying it again. So make sure you're typing that in right, see how it looks. Okay, for number 2, similar problem. We're just adding a little more in there. So this piece now really needs to have its own third set of parentheses, or you can do it off to the side. So negative NK would be negative N times K, which is negative 80. So I would just type that in versus worrying about extra parentheses. But just note that when you see things like that, you may have to do that separately. And again, I already did the negative 80 over here. So now I can type it in exactly how it looks and get my answer. So when you're typing that in, calculator, Desmos, whatnot, make sure that you are getting the answers I'm getting. If not, it's always better to just clear and try again versus trying to figure out what went wrong in the particular one. So next I'm going to show that problem in Desmos. So Desmos is just desmos.com. It's a free calculator. I clicked the graphing calculator one, and I'm going to type what I was seeing there. So 1200, 1 minus 1 plus, and again, I'm typing what I saw, 0.027 divided by 4. Now, when I'm there, I have to arrow over, or it stays on the bottom of the fraction, to the negative 80. And then my problem had 2 parentheses. Oh, so see, I guess we'll just put that there. You have to arrow over again to close them. And then we're going to divide, and it gives me a nice fraction bar now. 0.027 divided by 4. And then I need to arrow out of there. And there's my 73,989.95 cents. So you can also use Desmos. It is free, no problem using that. Desmos.com. Okay, going back to our paper now. If I want to get into more complex equations, I can do those as well. So when I'm trying to put these in, I have a negative exponent. And then I've got just putting it all in. So it looks pretty similar to what we were just doing, but we're going to continue to practice. Big thing is make sure you're practicing with whatever calculator that you use in your 154 so that these are not just random problems. So PO would be D is 45,000. 1 minus 1 plus R. K. All right, up here, I'm going to do negative NK off to the side. Negative 15 times 1 is negative 15. Just saves me a little bit of parentheses. Okay, and that's exactly how I would type it in as well. Oh, you don't need that parenthesis, sorry. So it's parenthesis, 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 close, 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 parenthesis, parenthesis. So when you type it in, you are typing it in as 45,000. 1 minus 1 plus 0.07 divided by 1, caret negative 15 divided by 0.07 divided by 1. And again, make sure you're practicing with that calculator, and you should get an answer of $409,856.13. And then I will come over and do it in Desmos for you once you've had some time to look at it. Okay, so here in Desmos, it was 45,000. 1 minus 1 plus 0.07 divided by 1. You can leave out the 1 if you want. Arrow over to the negative 15. Arrow over 2 parentheses. And then 0.07 divided by 1. Again, you could leave out the 1 if you want. And there's your 409,856.13. So I've got it in Desmos for you, and I've got it over on our paper. And then there's one more problem to try for this video, and then the rest go into payout and loans, which we'll do in the next one. So we're solving for D this time. Okay. So if you look at where D is in this equation, it's got its own set of parentheses, but then it's actually being multiplied by this whole piece in parentheses, and then it's being divided by the denominator. So if up here, I kind of rewrote this as PO equals D, and then I put everything in blue and just made it another variable, and everything in green and made it another variable. So here's my blue piece, here's my green piece. What you would do with that is you could actually solve B divided by A, move it out, and then divide that into PO. So that's what I recommend doing here, is taking this piece out, dropping the outer set of parentheses, getting this number, and then dividing it into PO when you need D. So what that would look like is PO is 300,000. I'm going to move D out and then do 1 minus 1 plus R divided by K. Let's also do negative NK separately, because that's just another set of parentheses. Now this time there's only going to be the 1 out here because I took 1 when I removed the D. D had its own before. And then 0.06 divided by 12. So I'm now going to take all of this blue piece and get an answer, and then divide it by the green piece and get an answer. So I'm going to have to go over to my calculator for this. So take a moment to make sure you have it written down. Okay. So here's what we had over there. We had 300,000 equals D, and then we were doing this top part. divided by that bottom part. So that's the piece that I'm going to put in the calculator first, is I'm going to be putting in this guy right over here in our calculator. And I'm going to put it in exactly how I just wrote it. 1 minus 1 plus 0.06 divided by 12, arrow out to the negative 240, arrow out and close, divided by 0.06, divided by 12. I'm clicking the right arrow, and that's going to give me this number. So now what I'm going to go do is say 300,000 equals D times 139.580771683. So like any standard algebra problem, I'm now going to divide it, but don't round that number. And that way it'll cancel and let me get that D. So I'm going to do 300,000 divided by that number that we just saw. And get my answer, 2149 and 29 cents. So I'm spending a lot of time on the calculator for a reason, so that you really know how to do it. And then that answer ends up being, let me get my pen back, 2149 and 29, whatever it is. If it was money, 29 cents. All right, then the next video will go into payout annuities.